start at 2:45. Look at that. Isn't that cool looking? There we go. So welcome to our Tech Tuesday. Tech Tuesday today is to continue our Google certification level 1 classes. Today's topics are Google Drive and Google Slides. We didn't feel like Google Drive was enough for a entire 45-minute block, and that Google Slides would be a logical next thing to do since we've already done Google Docs. So we'll go ahead and get started with that. There we go. See that?
Right.
Yeah, look at that.
I was hoping you'd take care of that because I was like, it's funny, you look like you have Mr. Goo glasses on.
Oh, did I have that? Was I right in the goo? That's pretty funny. Okay, so we'll start with the Google Drive. So we want to go over a really set of things to make sure everybody knows how to do those things in Google Drive. And we're going to kind of go down through the list that we've got printed out on how to do that. So the first thing is how to create files. The files themselves are the subject of separate classes other than slides that we're going to do today. So if I hit the, what was that?
We're trending.
Oh, okay. So if I hit the new button here, you can see that's how I add new stuff. We've already done Google Docs last time. We're going to do Google Slides today. You can see Google Sheets there. You can make folders, and I can go down here and hit more, and then we could do the other things. These are also going to be the topics of, or at least some of them are going to be topics of future Tech Tuesdays. Like I said, we already did Docs last week, and we're going to do Slides today. So the act of creating a document is pretty easy. You just go to that plus button that we had there, and then pick the kind of document. So if we were going to make a Google slide, I just click on it, and it would open up a new untitled slide for us to start our presentation with. So that's all it takes to add a new one. To access an existing one or to find something in your drive, you can use the search tool and you can type in a word. But the more things you have, in my opinion, the poorer this search tool works. Because if you have a lot of stuff and you just put in, like my drive, I have tons of stuff in there. If I just use the search tool like that to find a file, I may or may not find it. So I like to use it in a more advanced way, that I go over here to the drop down and say exactly what I'm looking for. So I already have biology in there, but what kind of file do I want? And that's where you can drop down and say, hey, I'm just looking for spreadsheets that have the word biology in it. Now, I'm not going to have any. Oh, I do have one. Okay, so if I go to that one, then this is the only one. It's not actually mine. It's shared with me by another teacher that has the word biology in it in my entire Google Drive. So when I'm looking for a file, I generally do that because it just makes it easier, and my return list is so much smaller. And when I say I have a lot of stuff in my drive, I'm not kidding. My Google Drive is currently 961 gigabytes large, so it's kind of big. When I do searches, I need to make sure I'm finding exactly what I'm looking for, and I'm not using that account right now. So that's one of the extra features that you can do when you're looking for anything. You can go to this drop down, you can pick a specific kind of thing that I'm looking for. I can say only my stuff, or anyone. It defaults to anyone, by the way, which is why we found Ms. Terrell's shared document. I can say that, or I can go here and say I only want one that's from a specific person. Like if I was looking for something from Mr. Studebaker, I could look for just things that he shared with me, and it makes it much easier to find those things in there. So that's the easiest way I can think of to access your files. Do you have any other those things? Has anybody got any other ways that they do find stuff?
No, it's actually pretty good to, you can narrow your focus depending on how big. I mean, as you can see, this one over here is not even a gig. So, you could actually do fine to put whatever it is that you wanted to start narrowing it down. But then again, yes, the more stuff you put in there, the more narrow your search becomes, and therefore you could actually miss what you're looking for.
That is true too, because the word may not be in there. So like Dan said, if the smaller your drive is, the easier it is. And if I on my drive, you can see it always shows the folders first, and then it starts going through the last modified down here through the documents. You can reverse order that. You can say last modified by me, or last opened by me, by just clicking down here on the side. Same thing with the owner is all going to be me because I'm in my drive, as opposed to if I was looking for other people's things, I'd look in shared with me. And we can organize things also with folders. So one of the things I can do is I can say new, and the very top thing up here is a new folder. I can make folders to put all my stuff in to keep it more organized. I have, well, you saw mine open there a little bit. I have it organized by teaching stuff, by tech stuff, and my teaching stuff I have it organized by which class. And if we have a folder, one of the things that Dan and I learned last class is that you can put things in more than one folder at one time. So if you've got stuff that's relevant to every ag class, you can actually keep it in ag 1, 2, 3, and 4 folders all at the same time. And when you edit it, you're editing the one document that's shared at all of them. So I'm going to show you how to do that. If this particular, let's say this deliveries doc, I don't even know what that one is in a specific spot, I can always right click and say I'm going to move it to another folder. And when I go to move it to that folder, let's say I'm going to move it to hardware, if I have the control, see where it says move here down there? If I hold down the control key, now it says add here. See how it switches? So now if I say I want it in hardware, I'm adding it to hardware as well. I'm not moving it to hardware. So it's going to stay right here I'm going to go ahead and hit it. It's right here inside my Google Drive. It's also right here inside of hardware. And I can see where that exists by right-clicking and saying, where's my
View details.
View details right there. And it says I added it. There's the details. So I can see if I scroll down just a little bit that the location of this is in my drive and it's in my hardware folder at the same time. If I delete this one out of my drive, I am not deleting the document. Watch, I click that, it's no longer there, it's still in hardware. But if I want to be able to access and find it in multiple folders, if I use folders really well, those things that I use in more, that I can put them in more than one folder.
So if we make edits to that one Google,
it's only one document. It's just linked. It's kind of like email labels.
Okay.
That there's one document linked to a whole bunch of different places.
So it's being changed, and if you have it in 5 folders, it's being changed
in all 5 of them, right, at the same time. So I just would be careful. You can see that it doesn't have the X here anymore. You can't delete it this way when it's down to 1. I have to actually go up here and then right click and say remove, and if I do that it's going to say are you sure, and it didn't say are you sure. Why didn't it say undo my delete? It always says are you sure. Why didn't it say are you sure?
No, because it just went to the trash can. It didn't go by.
Oh, that's right. I didn't delete. Okay.
Yeah, now if you went to the trash can and did that, they're like, are you sure about that? We're like, oh yeah, don't need this. What was that again?
So I guess when it comes to organizing, you can move it to folders or you can add it to folders as you put it around there. And those folders as well can be, you can see I have not colored them, but I can color code those folders as well and say, okay, all my class folders are going to be purple and all my whatever class projects are going to be green, whatever. So I can go and come up with a color scheme for myself to make it easier to find things.
Now, somebody out there would probably ask you, can I add a folder to multiple folders?
I don't know if I can. Can I do that? I've never tried to add a folder. Let's see. Move to. Can I do that? I can.
Yes. Don't do that though.
Why?
Well, you can, but
you can.
Imagine, you don't know how much stuff you actually have in that folder. So.
Well, it doesn't make copies of it though, so
yeah, I know.
That's okay. This isn't a real account anyway, right? It's IMA's account. So the biology project also has the freshman class project. Now it would even be better if we now try to put biology inside a freshman class. Can you make a loop and destroy the world?
You know you want to try it,
because I've got freshman projects in biology. So can I put biology inside? I do want to try it. Okay, so let's see. If I say freshman projects. Oh, I had let go of it.
Server accounted an error. You let go of it?
I let go of it. I moved
Oh.
instead of I let go of it right as I was clicking on it. So that's anyway. I'm being silly now. Okay, so yes, you can put things in multiple folders, and you can put items in multiple folders at the same time, and it does not delete them when you exit over there. It makes it down to the last one. So we can also upload files into our Google Drive that we want to access from anywhere, and we can convert those files as well into Google Documents. So the act of uploading stuff into my drive is about as easy as it can be. If I move my file folder over here, if I've got a document on my T drive, for instance, that I want to work on when I go home, let's go to my lesson plans. Say I want to use this sub-lesson plan and working on this when I get home, I can just drag this right over onto my Google Drive and let go, and it's going to upload that file right into Google Drive. Now, because it's a Word document, it has a W at it, as opposed to a Google Doc that has the lines at it. If I want to be able to edit this in Google, if I go ahead and click on it, I can't right now unless I click on here and say Open with Google Docs. And as soon as I do that, it converts it. I shouldn't say converts. It makes a copy of it that's now a Google document. So, is it perfect? No. Is it okay? Yes. I won't say that it's exactly perfect, but it's pretty close to what I had. In fact, man, it's pretty much exactly what I had. Margins are a little bit different, but whatever. So if you want to work on a document or collaborate with somebody else on a document, you can easily just upload that and move it over there. And let's see, the only thing it locked. Oh no, it didn't really move some text down on the second page, and that's about it.
It does not like actual. Not regular text, but if you're doing like a word art text type stuff that was actually in a Word document, and then you bring it over, or if you have, sometimes if you have tables, if you bring them in that were on Word, you get a little bit of a conversion likeness with it.
Okay, and I haven't tried to do any word art. I mean, other than what we did on Docs last time, I haven't ever tried to upload word art from, which I'm sure will work. It's just an image, right?
Yeah.
So the word art will still come over as an image, but it's maybe.
Yeah. I would suggest actually, if you're going to do that, to take the word art and put it into a Google Drawing and then put that in. But that would be great.
Okay. So that was converting files, and I'll be honest, I don't do it with Word documents as much as I do PowerPoints. I have tried to convert almost every single one of my PowerPoints to Google Slides, and sometimes I'll do the opposite. I'll build my presentation as a Google Slide presentation, but then save one copy as a PowerPoint when I go to a presentation, just in case I'm about to be screwed with the Wi-Fi or something. Because at the tech conference, that's happened to me multiple times, where you go to a tech conference and it's got the worst Wi-Fi that you've ever had. And
mine's usually been flawless.
So, yeah. Anyway, so I do that a lot and convert those back and forth. Sharing files, if I can share files or folders, and frequently I'll just share the whole folder if it's for a class project or for something we're collaborating on, realizing that if I share a folder, I'm sharing everything in that folder to the same people that I share the folder to. It's not a by document. So if I say this biology project folder right here is one that I want to share, I can just right click and say share. And when I go to share, I can share with groups or individual people. And if I do it like this, if I were just share this with Mr. Studebaker, and by default it's going to add a note, or it's going to notify him. I can type a note down here when I go to share this folder with him. I've got some other options. So my other options are the same ones we went over when we talked about docs last week. If I go to advanced, I have the option of sending an email to myself so I know that he got it. I can make it so other people are denied the ability to add other people, because by default, if I give you access to edit, you can give him access to edit, he can give him access to edit. So if I'm worried about students sharing outside of who I shared them to, I would make sure I prevent editors from changing access and adding new people. I would check that, because then I know that I controlled who got access to it, as opposed to anybody else getting control of who has access to it.
Actually, that new thing we learned with the shareable link, I like even better.
To do the, you mean the copy thing?
Yep.
Well, that's if we're not collaborating, and I'll show that in a second. The other thing is, I've said that he's got editing permission. That is the default for a share. You can always say that they can view only, and if they view only, that all they can do is open those documents. And again, you may want to, I still like the idea of checking that as well. The other thing that you can do, especially with Moodle, and I'm going to cancel this. The other thing I can do with Moodle is when I go to share, instead of sharing the file, I get a shareable link, because often I want it to just be a link in Moodle to click on to go to those things that I'm trying to get them to do. So I can say link sharing is on, and by default, shh, go away. Oh, dang it, what did it do? Okay, get shareable link. There we go. Why can't I get this up here? So anyone at National Trail can view the link, and I can change through the sharing settings down here. Again, who can use that? And I can go to more. This is everybody can view. Now can everybody edit? And I can go to more and say anyone with a link can do whatever I say down here. So if I say edit, I'm saying, if I do this, which I would never do this one, but I'm saying that anybody with a link, you don't even need a Gmail account, you can edit and delete and do whatever you want to to the file. But you may need to do this if you're sharing somebody back at CTC, because they're not in our organization. And if I was going to do that, I'd probably do still specific people and not the link itself. I think that's kind of
And I mean,
But if I share that with them and their email as a Google account, because my eKennel at mvctc.com is a Google account.
right. No, that's what I'm saying. You'd still, if I was going to do that, so if I was like, it's something important. I'm not going to do shareable link. I'm going to get off of this. If I was trying to collaborate with somebody at CTC, I'd go here and say share. I'd say more and go anyone with the link, but then I'm going to go down here and change it to specific people down here. Right? I mean, if I'm just trying to share it with one person, see if my son shows up. No, what is he? 26, 25? I don't need children. Anyway, so if I would do it with a specific person, it's safer down here to do that with a specific person than to use a link at all.
because if for some reason that link goes somewhere else, yeah, then and that's the thing, is that you don't know who actually would have the link.
So what Dan was just referring to on a great way to share something so everybody gets their own copy, and that's what he was talking about. If I go down here to, let's say, we're going to use my subplan as an example. If I go down here and get a shareable link, turn on link sharing, and
now if you actually, now this is good, because if you actually know who your sub is, what he's doing right now, right?
I can just email that.
Yeah, he can email the teacher it. If he wanted the kids to actually say, hey, I'll be gone. Here's your website that you go to. You could have all the instructions to all the kids, and it's basically a web page.
I'm pretending this is a document that he wants his kids to work on. One of the things that we talked about last week is the fact that many times we want to give them a template to start with, but we don't want them to edit the one we gave them, right? We want to have them. So I'm going to do anyone with a link right here, and I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to copy the link and show you what the link looks like. On the wrong screen. Let's see if I can get it over here. That wasn't the one I wanted. I was trying to get over here. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay, so sorry about that. So here's what the link looks like that I just copied from Google, and it says blah 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 edit US people sharing. So if I take that same link and change the word edit to word copy, and now I push that into
Just
Moodle somewhere.
No, put it in an Omnibox. It'll show you what it looks like now.
What?
Open up and up.
Well, I am.
Oh, yeah.
So if I put that and the kids click on that link, now it immediately comes up with, do you want to make your own copy of that document? They never have the ability to edit it. They click on that and it goes, dook, and they make their own, and now they're editing theirs. So if you put that link in your Moodle class or in Google or wherever you're using it, as soon as they click on that, it puts a copy of that in their Google Drive, right? So, I mean, I know this is a poor example, but you can see it's a copy of that, even though I own the document, because I clicked on that, it made me make a new copy.
That's a way around, like, I don't use Google Classroom, and when in Google Classroom I can upload one and it makes a copy for
Right.
me. However, this is doing the same
Yeah,
thing.
it's doing the
and
exact
then
same thing. Yep.
Now,
So-
that's the thing is, that little trick of just changing that last word on it, it doesn't actually, it's not as if a kid could go up there and go, oh, I'll change where it says copy and change it to edit, and now I can mess with, you can't. It's like by you doing it and not having any kind of shared rights out to anybody else, they can't change that up there in the link.
So
If they do it, it doesn't
My
matter.
document's never shared with the kid. They're just making a copy of it.
Yeah, you're making a
Yeah.
viewable link, but you're saying copy. So once they copy that viewable link into their drive, it's editable because now it's their file.
It just saying basically like on certain websites, you could actually change parts up there in that URL to go to different areas. If you've never shared it with the kid, they can't do anything.
Yes.
but
So
get the copy.
that along with that, when you go to share it, I would make sure that the share anyone with a link can view, and then you copy the link. Not anyone with a link can edit, because if you make it anybody the link can edit, then they could probably change that text, I guess. But if it's not, they can't. No, I've never tried that.
Okay, if you have a check mark on the
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, if you went and did this and then made the link say copy, it probably could.
If you hit done.
Yeah.
Because if you hit done, you're done.
Yeah. So, I mean, as long as it's only shared to view and you change it to copy, they just get their own
So
copy.
at this point, you're only doing this to get the copy of the link to change it, not ever actually pressing done.
Well, no, I would. Well, yes, I still need, like right now it's set up here to view. So when I hit copy link, I still have to say done because it has to be shared for them to view. But then I go and take that and change the word edit, because edit is a misnomer in this anyway, because this link says edit to a file that they can only view.
Yeah.
So as soon as I change that word to copy,
Actually,
now that
Actually, put it as edit, then make it done and send me it. I want to see if I can actually.
okay, so I need to make sure I've undone all the sharing that's on there, just so so we're back to so I'm going to go back to there. So now it's not shared. So that when I do that, get shareable link, and I would go ahead and say it says view, so I'm going to copy that. Done. You want me to send it to you with the word copy, Dan? Is that what you're saying? And you're
Yeah.
going to change it to edit?
And if it does have the ability to edit, so it can turn on the ability to edit, if I could actually change that.
I don't think it would, but I can try it for you. Never checked the email as I messed up. Okay, so let's see the next thing. Converting files, sharing files, managing folders in Google Drive, we already talked about. and sharing resources in Google Drive. We kind of already talked about that. There is a new thing called Team Drives over here that not everyone can set up. Actually, did I leave it so staff members can set them up? I think I did. Students just can't set up Team Drives. So a Team Drive is kind of a Google Drive that you don't own specifically. So the idea being is that if we make a Team Drive, for instance, I'm going to open up one, so this R-Factor one that we have for the DLT. So everybody on the DLT can put stuff in there, and everybody else can view it, so that's what showed up for me. But if the person who made the drive leaves National Trail, the drive doesn't go away because it's not owned by the person who made it. It's owned by everyone who has editing permissions in it, kind of thing. So it's just kind of it's a different way to share a folder that's easier to find, because I can really do the exact same thing with my own personal drive. If I go here and I say I want the biology project to be shared with everyone at National Trail, I can email NTLS staff at National Trail and give everyone access to that folder, and they'll all have editing permissions, just like if I did a Team Drive. The only difference is they have to find it, right? It's harder to find that thing that's shared with me. I have to go down to shared with me and look for things that are shared with me to find it, whereas Team Drives are all put together and organized as their own little thing.
So as far as Team Drives, if I am an editing person in the Team Drive, so our District 5 FFA Team Drive that we have shared between ag teachers,
right?
If I delete something out of there, is it gone forever?
It's gone from everybody.
Okay, so
yes.
So if one person messes up,
everybody who has editing, well, yes, yeah.
It's
so, and honestly, I've never.
You said the other day it didn't do that. When I asked you that, if we delete stuff.
If you're an editor in the Team Drive, you're deleting it for everybody.
Was it only in the Team Drive, not in the other?
Yeah, if it's something that somebody has shared with you, if you delete it, that was the question the other day. If somebody has a document shared with you and you delete it, you're just deleting it from your view of the drive. You're not taking it out of Sharon's drive if she shared it with you. Now, if she gave you ownership of it, because you can share and give ownership, if she gave you ownership and you delete it, it's going to disappear from hers too. The owner has to delete a file for it to disappear. In a Team Drive, we're shared ownership kind of thing. And honestly, I've never tried to undelete anything yet from a Team Drive, so I'm sure that will come up at some point. Someone will delete something and go, we need that back, and then I'll have to figure out.
So what is the advantage of a Team Drive versus a...
Just easier for you to, it's more organized, it's easier for you to find.
That's it.
Yeah,
and you know,
really.
I always have to put the search drive and go all the way down.
And well, I guess the other advantage of a Team Drive is that if Sharon's here and then she retires and moves on to her house in Boca Raton, that whatever she had worked on with you guys in the 6th grade?
5th grade.
5th grade. And the 5th grade team doesn't disappear when her account's deleted, because it's in that drive, not in her drive. Whereas if it was in her drive and she had it shared, and we deleted the account without moving her documents to someone else, which we can when we delete somebody, then it would just go away.
So under a Team Drive, you could have, like the school calendar could go there, and the school stuff, the sheets that we have to use all the time. You know, like the student staff of the month and the stuff.
That would definitely be in a high school drive. Yeah. If that would probably be a good use. And they could have subfolders too, right? So you can have a Team Drive that everybody in the NTA, the thing go away and come back. What's going on?
Connected. Successful now. 3 connection.
Huh. That's actually.
Well, it was a delay, so I couldn't actually tell you what happened.
That actually has never happened before. So it's full featured as Microsoft PowerPoint. Just like Docs and Slides is close, but it's not the same thing. However, that being said, it lets us collaborate. It lets you view student projects as they're working on it, which is one of my favorite things about it. Is when I give students multiple periods to work on a project, I love it when I said make it, share it first block, and I can look at it any time and see where their progress is on it.
Now wait, how did you get there from where you were from the drive? Did you type in
I just clicked on one at the beginning of the presentation.
down
I made
for
a
1
blank
second.
one. So you just say new Google slide, and
Okay.
it makes a slide, and that's all I did. Is we already had one open from the start
Okay.
of the class today. So this is a blank, just made presentation. So it doesn't have as many themes, doesn't have as many transitions, it doesn't have the same level of word art and things that Microsoft PowerPoint does. However, if the purpose of the project is to display what they learned and researched, it works perfectly fine. If the purpose of the project is to have them show how they do timing and do all kinds of sounds and transitions and stuff, you're limited on what you can do. So I'm a fan of Google Slides. It's just not exactly the same thing. So if you're looking for it to do everything that it did, it's probably not going to happen. So we already saw how to create a slide. It's pretty easy. You just go down here and say new slide to get an untitled slide presentation. When we come here, you get the same generic front end slide that you do in Google, and in PowerPoint, and Control M adds additional slides, and those slides default to the same kind of one that we were used to in PowerPoint. Okay, we have themes over here on the side. You can see the myriad of themes over here. There's not as many as one would think when it comes to that, but there are places to go and import themes. Boy, I can't remember what the name of that website was that she showed us either when we did that class that had all those themes that she imported in one. If you Google it, you'll be able to find some. I will tell you though, okay, so I just did import theme, and now I can import the theme of any other sheet I already have in my Google Drive. So because these are other presentations that are shared with me, I can take any of those and say, hey, you know what, I want to use this theme right here, and I click on that one and say select, and now that becomes the theme of the one that I'm using right now. So if anyone's ever shared any kind of slide with you, you can use that if you've never looked at it that way before. So transitions work the same way. If I go over here to where was I looking at? Okay, I should stick with the slides themselves. So you get our regular slide. We add slides. They're all the same default slide, but I can always right click and change the layout of the slide. And I have a number of different slide layouts. The normal title slide, and then title and body is what most people are used to using in PowerPoint, but you can do multiple column ones, you can do caption ones. You can see there are some of our options, but most people, my opinion is they use the title slide, title and body, and may use the 2-column slide when they're doing stuff. That's about the only ones that most people use for PowerPoint, or I mean for Google Slides. When we want to insert graphics, and I'll kind of go through all these. So I can insert an image. I can do it from my computer. I can do it from the web. I can use my Google Drive. I can use my Google Photos. I can use the URL of a specific image, and if I'm on something that has a camera, I can use that as well. I can also drag and drop directly on. So if I've got a picture that I want to use, and I'm going to just go to my pictures I got on here, and I want to use this picture from my vacation on there, you can drag and drop straight onto a slide and put the picture in as well. So you don't have to upload. In fact, I don't think I've ever used the upload button for an image. I've always just dragged them right on top when I'm going to use a picture or something. And
it seems like when I was trying to size them with the words, I just couldn't get it to fit right. I would size it and then it'd move the words, and then it would put it not where I wanted it.
Oh, you mean when you have a picture that you're trying to get with words?
I have a lot of trouble.
Okay, so that's going to
with
depend on also how you have the picture. So when I'm clicked on, let me get it smaller here. So I have options of how this is going to fit. In general, it should be behind it. So I always take my order and send it to the back in the first place. So now
Okay, so we're-
so if I do that, now my picture is behind anything else that I put on this page, and you can see all the other stuff on there. And obviously, I probably would make it that big, but if you send your image to the back, you don't have to worry about
Thank
that.
you.
Or
I didn't know
you
that.
can make it your background.
Or you could make it, yeah. If I
And
was going to,
that's if, on this particular case, if it's going to be that image for it. So
right. But if I was like trying to put the image beside text, and now I'm having a problem. There we go.
So once you click your title, it's gonna go up to the top. I mean, your words are gonna go at the top.
Yeah, if I
Right.
click there, all my words are going to go there. Yes. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's where they're gonna stay, right? But it seemed like it was moving the picture, but maybe it's because I didn't put it at the back.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you don't have it behind, then you could actually have, this getting disappear.
Right, it
behind
moves
there.
over and it-
And then
yeah.
you're trying to move the box around and stuff. I think it's
Right.
easier with images to just when you get them where you want them, just throw them in the back, and then
Thanks.
kind of solves that
The,
problem.
the other thing that I found that's helpful on Google Slides is all those text boxes. Like if I find one that I kind of generally just start out. I don't really pick a type of. I get rid of those in the back if I'm not going to use them. I just where it says click and add text like behind that picture. I just delete it so that way it's not hiding stuff from me.
What do
And
you
I just
right
use-
click and delete it?
If you
You can, yeah. So if I've got this, I can just click right on there and hit the delete key, and then it's gone.
hit the delete, it'll just disappear, and then you don't have to worry about that over there. And all your text will be on the left and your picture's on the right.
That's what I was trying to do, because from when we did the rocket launch, I tried to put the words with the picture, and then it kept throwing it all these different places, and things would disappear.
So the other things, if you're just looking for a picture in general, if you hit search the web, then you're going to get the Google search over here, and I could add something. Since I got beaches on there, beaches, Turks, and Caicos, sure, okay. And then you can just go and you can add those. Oops, how did I do that? There we go. Okay, so I double clicked on it, and it just drops the image right in there. If I want to search from the web. And then Drive is just going to let you pick from your Google Drive, your Google Photos. If you found a picture somewhere on the web, you can just drop the URL in there as well as different ways to add pictures.
Now also double click on your picture.
Right-clicked on the picture.
Double click on this?
to get the
Yeah, now
words.
see it? Now when you double click, you get the black bars, and if you go up to the thing right underneath arrange, it'll be shapes. You see the
Arrange at the
icon
top,
where it says
by tools,
Yeah.
format.
Where are we looking at?
In the tabs, format, slides, arrange, tools. All right, just below it. Not that one, the other one. That.
Oh, I see what you're
Yes,
saying.
pick
So
a
you
shape, and then it'll make the picture
can
take that
conform
shape.
to that shape. So, did I get it?
I don't think so. No.
Put the shape on there.
Let's see.
I believe this is the way she did it.
Yeah, I thought so too. But I just keep adding it on there. So that wasn't it.
It's infuriating.
Why did I write that down?
You're mean.
That's
Where
okay, I
was
got a long
that?
memory.
You're gonna you got a laptop over there. You figure that out. I wasn't even gonna add that to it. But,
Okay.
I don't think.
I do have the option of
He's
leaving that.
trying.
Orders and lines.
Just all kinds of things you can do in there.
The other really functional thing as far as outside of having it, but if you share it with multiple, like with Carmen and I as having two different classes of ag classes at the same time, and we're giving announcements every day in each class, we share the announcement slide so that way we're both giving the same set of announcements.
Oh, yeah.
And I can see when she edits them and vice versa. And that way all the kids at each day are getting the same information. So nobody can ever say, well, Mr. Kendall didn't tell us that, but you
You're-
told your kids that.
So this slides works where people can edit it.
Yeah, you can
It
work
looks-
Yeah,
collaboratively.
just like a
Just
Google.
like
You
a
can do it
Google.
just like a Google Doc, which is how
So
we're
you
doing
share.
like the signage downstairs is just Google Slides that's shared to a bunch of people, and they all have their own slides that they image. Like there's none for the athletic department right now, but there's one that Dorothy can put in the menu. Well, because it stopped, right? So we're done for a little while. But then they can go and put slides in for what's going on there, and the principal, and a bunch of people have the ability to to just add a slide in there and put in whatever they want to.
What you're talking about the cute TV camera doing stuff?
Yeah, yeah. It's just all that
It's
is
all
is
Google Slides?
that's just a Google slide.
That's shared with everybody.
That's shared with a bunch of people. So if
So if we want to put stuff on there, we would just give it to your principal?
no, not to me. You have to give it to Cindy because
Cindy, okay.
yeah. So I mean that's all it is. It's just a Google slideshow that automatically changes every 10 seconds, and they can add whatever they want to those slides, and it just keeps going through and going through, and it's embedded inside Google signage stuff. But that's a good example of a shared Google slide. If you want to insert video, there isn't a lot of options on video. Your options are YouTube or a video that's in your own Google Drive, which by default kinds of means that you can do every kind of video. You just have to drag it to your Google Drive first, right? So if I wanted to input something that doesn't exist on YouTube, I just have to get it digitized and drag it on my Google Drive.
Well,
And if
anything
it's
we've done
something
on
that's
YouTube-
questionable as far as copyright, it's a safer way to put it too. So they don't get copyright flagged on Google Drive like they do on YouTube. So, and it comes up with a YouTube player-ish when you have it in your Google Drive. So you can either do a search if you were looking for something on beaches. I don't know if this is a good search.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe I won't do beaches.
Dogs.
engines.
How about dogs? Cats?
I'll just say
Sand castles.
Bahamas. How about that? Bahamas might be safe. The island of Bahamas. There we go. So I could go and pick that one and select to insert that video inside my PowerPoint if I wanted to. Nice little tourism thing if I'm doing a PowerPoint on the Bahamas.
Okay, entertain me for a second.
What do I have to entertain you on?
Double click on it. All right. Good. Now, do you see where it's highlighted up there in the toolbar?
Yellow. It's yellow. up
Yellow.
there.
Oh, right there.
Oh, God almighty.
What?
I didn't say click it.
Oh, okay.
All right, now hit the arrow.
Down arrow, shapes. That's
shapes.
where it is.
Go pick a shape.
There we go. That's where it is, Dan.
Now click off of it.
There you go. Now it's in
Oh,
that
that's
shape.
what you're trying to do? I knew how to do that.
Yeah.
Not everybody does.
There you
Just
go.
joking.
Gosh, Dan, that wasn't that hard.
I
I'm
do.
writing that down.
If you would have
too.
told me
Here
what
we
you
go.
wanted.
I'm writing it down.
Thank you.
It actually is pretty neat ability to do stuff, and because it's still at the back, see, it's just sliding around behind everything else anyway. If I add a video and I'm clicked on there, I need to say how that video is going to play as well. And where's that at? Is it in format? Where's my little tool that says, did I close something over there? Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. You know what I'm talking about, Dan, where it says that you want it to play at full screen and all that good stuff. Is that under format? I don't think so. I didn't see it. Oh wait, there we go. Format options, video playback. That's what I wanted. Okay, so if you're doing that, you can go and pick a specific place. Let's say there's only a couple seconds of the video that's really important. So I can say I want to start at the 5-minute point and only play till the 6-minute point, because that's where the important thing of what I wanted to go over with my kids is. I can say to autoplay, I can mute the audio if I want to. I can also go down here and say that I want it to be, where's the full screen? Did I already see that? Where's the full screen button? Size and position. There's a full screen button someplace. Where is that? Now let's see how it plays. I go here. So it's, you saw it only started at that 5-minute spot, and then it'll only play to the 6-minute spot if I've got something. Text switching, got it. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Captions, there we go. I'll have to use my microphone. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but you can have it automatically transcribe everything while you're doing a presentation. So if you're doing a Google slideshow in class, and you can pick what language this is going to be in too. So if you're doing a presentation in class, and you have a Spanish-speaking kid that is trying to catch up, you can go and say, I want all the subtitles in Spanish, and you can teach your class, and everything will be in Spanish down there while you're teaching it too. So you can't really interact with it full screen, right? So like as a math teacher, that would be hard. However, that being said, you could start it and have something else on top of it, and it could still be transcribing your stuff at the same time if you wanted to try to use two things at once. I don't know how good it would do.
You ever transcribe your own voice?
Yeah, that's what it was doing. It was just doing my voice.
Oh, what? I thought it was doing the
No,
video.
no, that was my voice.
Okay, how'd you do that again?
So if I go and this is true, if I'm presenting and I turn on captions, it goes and makes it a little bit smaller, and now you can see that's all my voice as I'm teaching, and it's really close. It doesn't do everything right, but it's close enough that if you didn't speak English, you would have some idea with what I was doing if I went and switched this one to Spanish. Now, I actually never tried another language. Let's see, how do I do that? Because I made a big point that you could switch it to any other language you wanted to. And do you remember where that was, Dan? Speaker notes?
That's pretty neat.
Where was that? Oh, okay, there's English. That doesn't do me any good.
Maybe it's in
Oh,
settings
okay.
and you have it.
Translate, change languages. There we go. I want to have the page language in Espanol. Where was that? Did I see it?
Spanish.
Is it just Spanish?
Yeah. Espanol is Spanish for Spanish. That was
Spanish.
very good.
Okay, there we go. So, let's see. Page language, Spanish translation. Oh, no. I did that backwards, didn't I? That should be Spanish.
So you got that bar at the top, the options, when you went to captions, and then you
And page
went to
is
English. Did you go to the English from captions?
So I'm going to go and translate and see. I'll be interested to see what it does. Oh, it's not doing it. Let's see. No, it's not. I thought that was to translate that, and it's not. It's still doing it in English. Or is it? I don't know.
Or 100% unsplatter.
That's not helping me
No,
at all.
you're
It looks like I'm
100%
still.
unsplatter.
Yeah, it looks like I'm still. No, I'm still in English. We'll worry about that later. If somebody wants to do that, I will find out for you, but I don't know why it's not doing
on
that.
the screen to Spanish.
Oh, man. That's what I did. I did it backwards, didn't I? How do I switch to English now? Poop. Present. And I don't speak Spanish.
Control Z.
What? I don't think that's.
Where did go back down to captions and turn it back to English? Put it back to English.
Okay,
back
let's
to
see.
captions, where
I did it up here.
I went to captions first.
And then I did. What did I do after that?
Did you right click on captions?
I don't think so.
I think you have to right click some text.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I'm going to get it back right away. Let's see. Daggity dang! What did I do?
Somehow you got at the top the options, so did you
Oh,
right
I think it was
click?
here.
Import. Just
No,
import.
that's print.
Right click. Oh, I was going to say right click the words that was right there.
I don't think that's how I did it. Well, I'm in trouble, aren't I? So is everything in it? No, this is still not.
I can
in.
read Spanish if you.
So I'm gonna do a new one again. Let's see what if I go. No, I don't want. If I do a new slide, is it gonna be in Spanish or is it gonna be in just that one? Oh, okay. So it's just that one. I don't know how I did that. I don't know. I'll have to look that one up. Let's see. Other stuff that we can do, link text and to outside things. So if I've got a presentation, now I'm speaking presentation that I want to link to, all I have to do is highlight and I can do my insert link right here so that I can have it so it can go open to another area or something if I want to while I'm doing my presentation. I will tell you that whenever I do a Google Slide presentation, especially with us being one-to-one, I always share that presentation to my kids whenever I'm presenting anywhere. So if you're ever like, I want my kids to be able to get that too, all you have to do is hit the share button. And okay, I'm gonna say presentation is the name, and I'm gonna get a shareable link here to say anybody with that link can view. Now, I am not ever gonna put that link on this page because they can't do that. They're never gonna be able to type that in, right? So there are some options for you. I used to use GooGL, but that's going away. So if you've never used Bitly, bit.ly, you can go and just take that URL, throw that right in there where it says paste the link, and you close. There we go. You hit the shorten button, and it's just going to give you a link. It's going to give you a link. What the heck is it doing? Get started for free. Oh man, now they're making it so you got to sign in. Okay, go to my other tiny URL is the other one that I like to use. I don't want to have to sign in just to make. Now the nice thing about tiny URL is I've thrown the whole thing in there, and I could just say make tiny URL, and it's going to give me a nice little URL that I could actually put that on my PowerPoint presentation. And when I do, I'll be honest, I take that and put it on multiple slides. I don't just put it on my first slide. So I'm going to go and make this kind of big down here. And that's actually a little bigger than I would normally make it if I was presenting. Pick 24. I put that down here in my bottom corner, and then after I get my slideshow done, I'll copy that to the first 10 or 15 slides. And if I'm energetic, I'll put it on every single one. Because if Sharon walks in and we're halfway through and she's like, where are we? All she has to do is see the tiny URL and boom, she can catch up with what we were doing, right? The other advantage of sharing your presentation is that kids can save that in their Google Drive and they can take notes on it. This is a view-only link, and obviously you could post that on your Moodle site if it's in class, but they have the ability to take notes the whole time if they want to in your presentation. So if you're doing, and I would say that applies more or most maybe to a social studies teacher that does a lot of presentations, and maybe you do. I don't know who does presentations.
We always use them for math workshops. The time you're
and I will tell you that I get really annoyed when people do Google Slides and they don't share them. I'm like, the whole point is so you can share. You're not sharing. So even if they don't share their version, right? You could share it a link that, like we said, we could change that one right there to the copy thing before we paste it in there. The other thing while I'm talking about tiny URL is the other thing I can do is I can make my own extension for it. So tinyurl.com, I could put, Mr. Tools 102, and if that hasn't been used before, now let's see, did it use? Proceed this. Currently preview disabled. Proceed this. Okay, so it couldn't do that one, but if it lets you put in ones, and if they've never been used, you can use those as well. We already showed you how to embed a video, link text. We didn't do word art. And Dan, you're going to have to help me because I fumbled on word art last time. So to insert word art in the PowerPoint, we have to insert a... Oh, this one does have word art right there. It was docs that you had to do. Okay. So this one lets you go straight to word art and say, put a word in, and it just makes word art. But on docs, we had to go to drawing. Okay. I thought one of them was easy.
Insert drawing.
It lets you do big word art if you want to. You can change basic stuff. You can't curve around things like Word. It's just square. I can obviously change the side of it just by dragging it, but I don't get a lot of differences. I can do things like background. If I click on there, I think I can do format background. If I get off there, there we go. There we go. Borders and lines. I can go and put other decorations around the outside of stuff, but it's not anything that amazing. Anyway, so the reason we thought we could put these together is because slides is so basic. There just is not that much on slides that's that difficult. The sharing is just like it was in when we talked about it in Google Docs. You can do the same thing and email kids through comments, which I guess I'll let me go here and say, oops. And we showed this last week, but you weren't here, Eric. So if you're adding a comment over here, not only can I add a comment, I can make sure that a specific student gets an email about the comment by just putting a plus in here and then picking their email address. So you can see just drop down. If I had kids that were shared to, nobody shared to it besides Dan, so I'll just pick Dan. So if I do that, Dan not only is going to see that comment, but he's going to get an email about that comment in his email. Because a lot of times when we look at kids' documents and put a comment in, there's no way for them to know we even did that, right? Unless you do the plus and put their Gmail address in there. Now they get an email about it, and I can say, hey, it's assigned to you. You have to say when it's done as well. So if I hit assign to Mr. Studebaker and hit assign, now he's gone. Okay, it's not shared. So comment confirm. Fine. So now he's got to come. He's just got an email that he's supposed to come in here and fix that, and then he comes in there and he checks off that he completed that task that I just gave him on that.
So we have a Google Doc that's shared between 9 people, and the kids are all editing this piece.
Right.
And so they've either figured out how to do that, or it automatically does it somehow, because they'll go in and edit and they'll add comments on there, and it'll say like,
now you'll see the
resolved
comments,
or
but they won't
non-resolved.
know unless they're actively on the document.
Well, I get
or go look
emails
for it.
of them.
Okay.
I get emails as well,
Okay.
and it says Wes Taylor has added this comment to this section, and this comment is on there, and it says,
So
should I add
some of the
more
kids
here?
obviously know how to do that.
So they're, and I've not told them how to do it because I just found out it just made sense of what they're doing, what you just did.
Yeah, so it's a nice way to make sure they're notified that they have something that you want them to fix. This is plagiarism, fix it, whatever. They never plagiarize, never happens. Well, I mean, really, we're at 3:45. That's an hour. Does anybody have any questions on anything? Nope. 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 Okay. Like I said, Google. I love Google Slides. I don't mean to slam on it when I say it's basic, but it's not that hard. And the kids, you know, they can do transitions in it and stuff. They can't do all the crazy stuff they can do in PowerPoint, but honestly, sometimes that stuff drives me crazy. And, you know.
Okay, I do have one on the slides. If you have 2 or 3 kids working on it, how do you tell what students actually worked on it?
Okay, Dan, you edit this? Will you click on this, or you'll? Well, I can. You know what? I'll do it. I'll go show you on this one. That one that we just looked at from the kiosk. So most of them are probably going to be Cindy. But if I go here, and it's the same thing in documents, if I want to go and look at the revision history. So if I go to File, and then, where's that?
Version history in the second section.
Yeah, that's what I'm, oh, right there, okay. So I can go and see the version history of what's been done on this document. So I'm going to hit See Version History, and there we go. So I can go and see everything anyone did. It doesn't save every second, or it doesn't name every second. So you can see there's no other version until this morning at 9:45 that Mr. Ferguson did. And I can go there, and then I can go and see what anyone in particular did. You can see how the green box is there. That means she did it. The purple box, which has got to be someplace. So he took out the athletic slide earlier today and blanked that out. So you kind of have to look at the colors. And it's hard to see in this one because of the black background. But one of the things you can do is if this was one that, hey, I want to, this is when you finished working on a class on Tuesday. If I go and click on the 3 dots, see where I can say name this version, I can go and say end of class Tuesday. And now I've named that version so that it's easier for when I'm looking to see when. So if I've got, for instance, kids working on it over maybe a couple weeks even, if it's a long-term research project or something, every once in a while I might go in and name one so I know, hey, I reviewed it right there. That's the last time I reviewed it.
Okay.
And because it's named, you know that you are the one who did it then.
So,
and you also saw I can make a copy of that version if I want to. So if like way back here, let's say that there was a bunch of stuff on there that was important to me. So I'm going to go ahead and go to this one. There was something on there that's important that they deleted later. I can
February
go.
23rd.
Which one?
February 23rd.
Okay.
There, where like that might show you some. That day I edited the thing to put up the FFA stuff. That might show
Okay,
you
and he edited it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can see it saved it every, I don't know, 30 minutes or so, but it didn't save it every minute that it saves. Although you can have it show more changes as well. But if all of a sudden Eric was like, I need it as of that date, I can just hit the little thing and say make a copy, and it's going to make a copy of that in his drive, even though this is a shared document. If he's got access to it, it's going to make a copy of that in his drive of what it was right then, so that he knows. What do we? Oh, you want to go back to the other one?
Yes, we do.
When did you do? Where am I looking in?
Do you see my comment?
As he shows the running list of what he did, he marked it as done.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But
And told you that I can't change it because
because it's not shared.
no, I'm comment only.
Oh, you are. Okay, sorry. That's no good.
okay,
Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you
It
have
doesn't
anything,
show-
Dan?
Oh,
What?
excuse me. It won't show me how many total minutes they were present on it, but it says when they were making changes.
Yeah, because they could be sitting there, I mean, for a long
Yeah.
period of time. But I think I know there's a way to.
But it does say who was doing it. It doesn't tell you how many kids were sitting at that desk, but it tells you who was typing or who signed
Yeah,
on.
it tells you who was logged on.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that person was typing, right?
Okay.
If kids give each other passwords and they log on to each other's accounts, there's no way to know that, right?
Right.
So,
or if he's sitting here and he says, "Here, you type a while," then and they're all three sitting there.
Yeah.
It doesn't say who's
yeah,
actually
you
thinking.
wouldn't know that unless you tell the kids, hey, switch accounts so that you're on. Because you could have more than one account on one. I mean, just like I have this one set up.
Why would you have 3 people working on one computer?
Yeah, I don't know. 'cause
It's
she's
fifth
one of
graders.
them.
Don't worry about it.
I don't know, but you could.
But if you had 3 kids sitting with 3 computers, whenever one kid added something to it, does it save automatically then?
Yeah, and they can all be working on separate slides. Up to 50 people can be editing at one time on a document.
And it will show that in that
Yeah,
history.
and it will show. Here, Dan, let me
And you can
share this the right way
share
too.
it with 150 people or 250 people. I think.
Yeah, you can share. No, 200. You can share by name with 200, but only 50 can be editing at any one time,
Right.
which seems like a lot anyway. So
Something
let's see.
ridiculous, but okay.
How did I not give you editing? I thought it says edit right there. Okay, so try it again. So, Dan, you want to get on it? Or are you already on it?
I'm not.
When Dan's in it, because see how he's pink?
Yeah.
Anytime he's typing anything, he's going to be pink on the document typing. So
There
you
it
see how
is.
his just so the kids know if there's 3 kids collaborating on the same document, they know who's typing what. Now, if we're all working on the slideshow at the same time, I would recommend we don't work on the same slide at the same time because that can get ugly. You know, it's like, hey, you do the one on the weather and I'll do the one, whatever
Right,
your topic is.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like we did over there with
Yeah.
everybody on the same sheet.
Yeah, it's kind of messy. unless you're using it for feedback. Hey, type in what your feed. Even that was messy because we're all typing on the same document at the same time, and I don't know.
Everybody wants space, but each person keeps kicking the other person down a line and so forth. But slides is the best place to work on because you have your own slide.
Yeah.
So you do your slide up top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that my personal preference is to pick the theme before you start making a presentation, not afterwards, because I end up getting stuff moved around that you spend all this time getting the right words in the right place with the picture, and you go and pick a theme, and now all the boxes got moved over here, and the font changed and stuff. So I would highly recommend that when kids come into a new presentation, they first go ahead and decide their theme and then work on it once they've got the theme set. I just think it always dorks it up if I don't do that first. So once I go down here, I can go to slide, and where's my change? There we go, change theme, and you'll see if I go ahead and pick this theme, then things move around from where I had them before. Of course, the other one would have been a better example because I had pictures and stuff, but you get the idea.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, we're done. Unless somebody's got a question, or Dan, you have anything else you want to add? I talked a lot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got it. I have nothing to say.
Okay. Well, we're done then. Let's see. Alt 0.